Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another podcast episode. Today, I have a very special guest, U.S. youth cricketer, U.S. under-19 cricketer who set a record 7 wickets against the Cayman Islands, a draftee by the San Diego Surf Riders, left-handed pace bowler, Mr. Raj Vyas. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so how have you been?
I've been pretty busy. I like to keep myself busy. I have college right now, and I'm also training, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to ask this question to start off, just to get the audience introduced with you. If you had to introduce yourself to someone in a cricketing sense, how would you?
Like what my role is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm basically an opening bowler, um, left arm pacer, and I like to be classified as a lower mid order batsman who can, slog a few towards the end of an innings. But yeah, I'm still working towards that role.
Nice. So, how'd you get into cricket?
My dad actually got me into cricket when I was 2. I used to watch like his games as like a very, very young child, basically a toddler.
Mhm.
And yeah, I picked up a cricket ball when I was like 2, and I just chucked it. And he was like, "I think he's trying to bowl." So then from there, he would just give me the ball in the backyard basically,
Mhm.
and then I would just throw the ball. I would come with the run up a little bit, and then I'll throw the ball. And then he would put like some sort of marker, like a no ball line. He used to like, all right, throw it from there. And I would do that. So that was, I think, like the early stages of my cricket. I
Mhm.
mean, it's not technically cricket, but I was, kind of being introduced to that.
Right. That's a funny story. I love that. So you mentioned you started when you were a toddler. I heard you were born in Indianapolis and then you moved
Yep.
out to Arizona. So did you start playing cricket in Indy, or did you start when you
No,
came
I
here?
actually moved to Arizona when I was very, very young. I think
Okay.
a little less than a year old. So I
Okay.
don't remember anything from Indianapolis.
So how has playing in Arizona then? How's that shaped you into the cricketer you are?
Good question. Um, To be honest, there's not that much cricket in Arizona as compared to LA or Dallas or New Jersey.
Hmm.
So we do have good grounds though, so I am blessed with that. We do have a really good AstroTurf
Okay.
pitch here, which I practice like 8 minutes away. So it's kind of hard playing cricket in Arizona because you won't get that many games and that many tournaments. So I just felt like if I practice hard enough, I will be good enough. And I've been living with that motto for quite some time. And every time I've been asked to show up to play in LA from my under 16 when I was like 15, 16, I was able
Hmm.
to perform and everything because I went really hard in my practice. And Arizona, thankfully, it doesn't snow or anything. There's like a few dust storms a year. I think we just had one 2 days ago.
Uh-huh.
So that actually gives me the opportunity to practice 365 days.
Wow, that's a great story. Just consistently working at it. I think that's a great
Yeah.
message for all young cricketers out there. So you said that there aren't not a lot of cricket there. So how did you work to create that action that you have currently?
My bowling action?
Yeah, your bowling action.
All right. Um, my bowling action is it's a very complicated process of how I bowl. I used to have a very bad bowling action. I remember I used to kind of look like a spinner almost the way I
Hmm.
landed. I kind of spun off my right foot, which was my landing foot.
Hmm.
And then I basically did a lot of research into bowling actions. I went on YouTube. YouTube's like my best friend. I learned almost everything from there.
Hey man, don't we all?
Yeah, honestly. And I just kept on looking on fast bowler actions, slow motions, seeing what they do, what a brace front leg is, what a shoulder hip separation is, lateral flexion, those type of terms. And I try to incorporate that into my bowling action. I remember, I think from ages basically 14 to 17, every time I practice, I focused on one aspect of my bowling, like say shoulder hip separation,
Mhm.
and I would focus on that because if you focus on too many things in practice, you won't really nail them down. So
Right.
I decided I have to focus on certain things in my action.
Mhm.
Um, and basically, once I nail that down, then I can move on to something else like run up and generating pace through, running velocity.
Right.
So I think I nailed down most of my basics before the U19 everything.
Mhm.
So I had a decent bowling action then. compared to when I was 14, much better.
Right.
But even now, when I'm 18, it's been a little over a year since U19. My bowling action has changed a little bit, just a very little bit. I
Mhm.
cut down my run up. I'm using more wrist in my delivery, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm not jumping as high as I did before. So I'm constantly trying to see, is there a little few things here and there I can improve, not to change my bowling action, but to improve it.
Right. So you said YouTube's your best friend. I think it's all of ours. Who are the guys that you were watching on YouTube to really like work on your bowling action
Mhm.
in terms of professional bowlers?
Right. I would say Mitchell Stark. I
Hmm.
looked at him quite a bit when I was like 15, 16. I looked at Dale Steyn, his run up, his momentum through the crease. I'm a big fan of that. But recently, um, I would say Jaffa Archer has an amazing bowling action. I personally think he has the perfect bowling action. So if you would say who's one cricketer or one fast bowler who you've learned a lot from just by looking at the action, I would
Hmm.
say Jaffa Archer,
Jeff
because
Archer.
I've learned a handful of things from it, and many of those things has made me more efficient as a bowler. I don't feel as tired bowling long spells, and actually gain a bit of pace as well. So
Yeah, I mean, Jaffa Archer's not a bad place to go to. He's been one of the more consistent bowlers here. And then, of course, Mitchell Stark and Dale Steyn, two of the better bowlers that we've had so far. And so you, like I said, have made it to the under 19 team. You took the record-breaking 7 wickets. I'm going to read you the stats for the audience who doesn't know. All right, his figures in 8 overs, 7 wickets, 10 runs. That's the best figures by any U.S. cricketer, junior or senior, in one-day cricket. I was watching your interviews from afterwards. You said that hadn't processed. Looking back on it a year later, has that finally processed, and what does that mean to you now?
um, I feel like it processed the day after I took the 7 wickets when I had my next game.
Mhm.
It felt really good. I had no idea like I could do that on that day. All I knew is that I could back myself on my accuracy and just building constant pressure. I feel like if you had to categorize me in a certain type of bowler, I build a lot of pressure based on one length. Like I keep on bowling my stock ball, stock ball, stock ball.
Mhm.
It's very hard to score off that. That's why I want to build as much pressure rather than wickets. I rather focus on like my economy,
Right.
and because wickets will come, I'm not really hunting for wickets. I'm hunting for the ball to land in the right area. Swing in is my orthodox swing is in swinging to a right-handed batsman.
Right.
So on that day, I took 7 wickets. I'm just like, I'm just gonna bowl this spot, see what happens. I took after my first 2 or 3, I'm like, this is working pretty well. Let's keep on going. And thankfully, I was not taken off in the spell. I kind of begged my captain. He was never gonna take me off, but I'm like, hey, yo, please, I want to keep on bowling. I feel something today. And Joshua, he's a nice guy, so he's like, yeah, go for it. And
Yeah.
thankfully, it turned out well.
The swing that you get, it's one of the most dangerous swing, even in international cricket. I remember watching Mohammad Amir in the 2017 Champions Trophy. That lefty in swing, or the in
Mhm.
swing into the right hander, took away India's top 3. And we've had a lot of those on the U.S. team, and we're hoping to see you as the next one up there in that
Oh,
major team. But who would you credit your success to? So like parents, coaches, who would you really credit your success to?
mm. My dad introduced me a lot to cricket, so I have to thank him a lot to that. And my mom helps me, like she drives me to LA and San Diego for like the games and everything that I have over there. Um, but at the age of 13, my coach, my best friend, and my father passed away in brain
I'm sorry
cancer.
about that.
No, no, it's all good. But after that moment, I was kind of not left on my own, because in Arizona, you have to understand that there are no really professional coaches. There are a few
Mhm.
coaches, but I feel like they're more towards batting and towards like youth, like 7 or
Right.
8 years old.
Mhm.
I didn't really have anyone. Obviously, my mom, like, she supports me any way she can. And she doesn't know that much about cricket, right? So she can't really be my coach. So I feel like from ages 13 to where I am now, everything I've done, obviously there have been a few coaches here and there that I've seen for like a few days or maybe even a week who said, "Oh, you should work on this." I'm like, "Oh, thank you. That's a very good
Right.
advice." But the majority of my progress from 13 to where I am now, I feel like has been done with me by myself. And I'm
Right.
not saying, "Oh, I am what I am because of me." No,
Mhm.
that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that from that time period, I did a lot of research because I realized now direct support for my cricket, I don't really have that much in Arizona. I don't
Right.
have that much. So I'm like, I have to be my own coach. I have to be my own critique, you know? So I did a lot of research. I was very hard on myself as far as like results and like, for example, that bowling action thing we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
So I really focused on my cricket. I basically treated it as like if it was another class in like school or something.
Right.
Cricket
Right.
101 or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I took it very seriously. And I'm like, the odds are against me, but that makes me push even harder.
Man, that work ethic is unbelievable, and it got you to where you are, the under 19 team. And what was that experience playing with those guys, being in that environment, and being with those coaches and those players?
Oh, listen, the environment, US under 19 was amazing. I learned a lot. Um, Coach Anand, who is the coach of the U19, he
Mhm.
helped me even more in spot bowling. So actually, that helped my accuracy a lot more. So I do have him to thank for that. As far as resources, we were given anything we really wanted. You know, if we had any questions or anything, they give it to us. We went to amazing tours in Grenada. We also trained in the Olympic Center, which blew me away. Frankly, it was like I'm a very big sports guy too.
Right.
Outside of cricket, I follow the Olympics whenever they're on and stuff. So just being there itself was wow. It was just it took my breath away a bit. But I remember that was like my first experience as like an actual professional cricket player. I wouldn't say professional, but it was in a professional setting, you know.
Right. Right.
And you were treated like that too. So obviously you would categorize yourself as one. And I just remember that feeling like I just been working so hard and now I'm actually reaping the benefits of it. It was just amazing feeling.
So you were at the Olympic Center. Did you meet any Olympians or anything like that for the U.S.? No. No. Okay. I've been.
Unfortunately, not. They weren't training at the time, but I think Shashank, who
Mhm.
went there before
Right.
with the men's, I think it was a year or two back from that date. I think they've seen a few Olympians, but I haven't seen any,
Well,
unfortunately.
I'm sure one day you'll be able to see them.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I want to come now into like the minor league setting. So we all found out about the draft and who got picked where through social media, through Instagram, the posts that they had.
Yeah.
How did you come to know that you were selected by the San Diego Surf Riders?
Right. So I actually heard from a friend that he came over here to visit in Arizona for like a month or two just to
Mhm.
practice and like, you know, just to visit some family. And he had some connections in California, LA, San Diego, basically that area.
Mhm.
And he told me that there was someone interested. I knew about the minor league way back,
Right.
but then he told me that there was someone interested. One of the teams is interested in having me, and I was quite flattered. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, yeah, I'm serious. So then he got me in touch with the owner of San Diego.
Mhm.
And basically we talked, me and the owner, and he invited me to one of their practices just to see. Like I think they had quite a bit of footage of me too. So I
Right.
think that's what probably made them interested. And they kind of knew what I could do. So they just, you know, it's been a year since they've seen me actually bowl. So they invited me for a practice. And yeah, at the practice I did pretty well. And then afterwards they told me that I was like, you know, it's a good chance I'd be in. And then I saw my name in the draft and yeah.
So were you part of the drafted group of players, or were you contacted like out of the under 19 pool? Like I know there's a separation there. Do you have any clue like if you were an actual like draftee, or were you a selection out of the under 19 pool?
What do you mean by that?
So
Like,
so apparently I was talking to Jishnav Kohli yesterday or 2 days ago, and he was basically saying how there was an under 19 selection pool, and then there was, I guess, out of the under 19 like actual draft committee. So like, did you get an email before the actual draft took place, or? If you're not sure, you don't have to answer.
No,
Just a question.
I'm not sure
You're not
actually.
sure.
No, I just
Okay.
got all my messaging was taking place through WhatsApp, to be honest.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it
Yeah.
was a
Hey.
little informal, but I mean, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Hey.
Sorry.
There's no worries there. So what are you most looking forward to in this minor league?
I'm actually very excited about it. I'm part of a great team, great family. They treat each other like brothers, basically, and it's an amazing privilege to be part of that team. And I'm basically looking forward to playing with them. And I'm a very competitive cricketer. I like to think of myself as that. So I'm looking forward to competition. I'm looking forward to seeing if someone is doing something better than I can do, because that's what really fires me to become a better person. I'm also looking forward to display my talents that I have grown since the under 19 till
Mhm.
now. I feel like in 1 year I actually progressed quite a bit as far as pace and even more control. So I'm looking forward to displaying that, and yeah, I'm very excited. I feel like I'll do quite well. Obviously, I won't be overconfident or anything, but
Right.
I mean, there's a reason why I train like 25 hours a week because I want to make sure that I'm performing my best self whenever given the chance. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very hyped.
I love the hunger. I love the drive. Even after the 7 wickets, you're still wanting more. I love that. And you just mentioned like you train 25 hours a week. How has COVID impacted your training schedule and things like that?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, it actually helped. There's the gym shut down and everything, so um, the strength I think workout and plan I was on
Hmm.
kind of affected it by all the gyms being closed down. So I invested in getting some resistance bands, like heavy resistance bands from
Right.
Amazon. I try to find any way around this pandemic. Obviously, I have to stay home quite a bit. I also practice by myself. I think the parks were still open.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was only me and like the whole cricket field who was practicing. So it was
Right.
pretty safe. So I continued my bowling, continued my actual practice. Um, During COVID, I actually started doing track styled running, which is like 200-meter repeats,
Hmm.
5Ks, and then I don't know, those two are very separate things. Sorry,
Right. Yeah. No. No.
sprint repeats like 300-meter, 400-meter, 100-meter. Also, my friend who did track and field in high school kind of coached me through that. So um, yeah, I did that. I continued my strength training. I used to go to the gym 2 hours for 6 days before COVID, and now the gyms are back open, so I'm back in the gym. But during COVID, I would still train the same amount of hours inside my house with resistance bands. They're quite heavy, so they kind of fulfill the strength part of it.
Hmm.
Um, Funny thing is, I was like a bit, obviously everything's shutting down. Like I get it. Like I'm actually for it because it's safe
Right.
society. It's safe for everyone. For
Hmm.
if everyone stays in home, maintain social distancing, wearing masks. But obviously, naturally, everything shut down. I will be frustrated. I know it's for a good reason.
Right.
But I was quite frustrated, and every time I'd be frustrated, I'm like, all right, let's go train. I would train really hard. I would train until like I couldn't train anymore. But yeah, I during COVID, um, actually even before COVID, I would just do 2 hours of gym, 2 hours of practice. Um, and I would practice 4 times a week and go to the gym 6 times a week. I'll have one rest day, but on the rest day, I'll be doing some light jogging. And
Hmm.
then as far as the track style running, I'll be going like 3, 4 times a week.
So how has
So,
the track style running really helped you?
sorry?
How has that track style running? How's that helped you in your game?
Right. So that track style running, my yo-yo score in U19 was very bad. It
Okay.
was the very first time I took it in the trials was 15.6, which I'm very ashamed of. And then when we did it again, when I was actually part of the U19, we did it in the Olympic Training Center, and I got 16-1, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
16-1. And yeah, I was the second lowest or something. I'm like, nah, I can't have any of this.
Right.
So the reason why I do that track style running is basically to improve my aerobic and anaerobic abilities in
Hmm.
running.
Okay.
I realized the reason why my yo-yo score was too low is not that I was out of breath, but my legs couldn't really take it anymore. So that's an anaerobic issue.
Right.
So I realized that doing these sprint repeats, 200-meter, like for example, 200-meter by 8, so 8 sets
Hmm.
of 200-meter with 2 minutes rest.
Right.
That's very good practice for the yo-yo because you're gonna tire out, and it's something that most people don't. I think most people do get it, but something that's overlooked kind of.
Right.
The yo-yo is it is endurance, but you're actually running quite fast after 16. After the 16 mark, you're actually basically you're sprinting.
Right.
It's not a full sprint, but it's like an 80%
Yeah.
sprint. So I trained really hard for that. I basically did track style running to increase my yo-yo.
Okay. Have you seen like anything better with like your bowling action, your stamina there? Like, has that helped you in that aspect
Oh
of
yeah,
cricket?
yeah. The track style running helped me a lot. I don't get tired anymore in practice. I can bowl 10 over spells and I don't feel anything.
Okay.
Also, I cut down my run up, which helped me a lot. It's from in U19 it was 17 steps and now it's 13 and a half steps.
Okay.
I'm still bowling the same pace. I'm actually bowling a little quicker too since I have more energy.
Mhm.
As far as yo-yo, my score went up, I think 16-1 to now 17. So it's still not high. I still want it to be higher. My goal is 19. I know that'll take some time. It'll take a lot of effort to hit 19, and it looks a little far-fetched from now, but I'm up for it.
Hey, man, with your work ethic, I don't doubt you for a second.
Thanks.
Now, man, everything you've told me, how can anyone doubt your work ethic? I mean, goodness gracious. But speaking with your work ethic, you are now a sophomore at Arizona State. And how do you plan to manage being a full-time college student and now being part of a minor league team 5 hours away in San Diego?
Yeah, it's quite something, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone, well, I know, not feel, I know that everyone has 24 hours in a day, right? How they spend it is up to them. Everyone is given 24 hours. And some people accomplish more than others. And why is that? It's because in their schedule, in their 24-hour schedule, including sleep time, they're very organized. For me, I have a schedule and I'm like, every 30 minutes, what am I doing? Am I doing homework? Am I attending class? Am I practicing? Am I just resting or am I watching TV? I try to limit watching TV because if I'm trying to train 4 hours a day and go to class another 4 hours a day and do homework another probably 3 or 4 hours a day, that's 12 hours basically.
Right.
I want to sleep 9 hours because I feel like sleep is very important, 8 or 9 hours. So that only gives me 3-4 hours to actually do something like, I don't know, eat or get ready or socialize or something. Obviously not every day is going to be that rough. Sometimes I have like 2-hour classes or something. So that's like the extreme. But I try to squeeze every minute I get in those 24 hours into doing something productive or doing something I want to do.
Right.
So I feel like obviously this happened in summer vacation. I'm obviously not perfect. I don't follow my schedule, excuse me, 100%. I feel like it's like 95% I follow it.
Mm-hmm.
Because some days you just get so lazy. You just want to sit on the couch and watch hours of Netflix or YouTube, like eat a whole pizza and just go to have a nap. And some days that's good because your body wants that. You can't work that much physically and mentally. But so I'm very organized when it comes to that because I realize I have to be very efficient if I want the max results in the least amount of time, which is what I really strive for.
Mm-hmm.
As far as minor league goes, it is a bit tough because I do live 5 hours away from San Diego.
Right.
Driving, which is not that far if you think of like, road trip wise. But as far as games and everything, I'm pretty sure I'll fly to the games. I'll try my best to come to the practice and everything. Obviously, I'm very keen for practice, but yeah, I will be attending all the games. I think I'll fly in.
Okay, so you just talked about flying in. Does COVID kind of scare you in that aspect? I know it's in the spring, but if say we don't have a vaccine, or say it's still recommended that that flying isn't the safest form of travel, how does that affect your mindset going to games in San Diego?
Yeah, it's obviously quite scary if you think about it. I already flew like I think 2.5 or 3 weeks ago to LA. But yeah, the safety precautions they take in the aircraft is actually pretty good. They disinfect the aircraft after each use, and everyone is supposed to wear a mask, and they actually space out the seating and everything. So those little things help. Whenever I'm going, I wear my thickest N95 mask, which is a respirator, which is pretty safe. I wear gloves. I'm basically making sure I'm not touching my face or doing anything. Every I think hour or so, I'll wash my hands or disinfect my hands with hand sanitizer. I'm very cautious when it comes to that. It doesn't scare me too much because I'm quite young, but you do have to be safe when it comes to something like that because you never know
Right.
if you get infected, what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Thankfully, none of my immediate family has been affected by COVID,
Mhm.
or they have COVID. Basically, everyone's affected, but
Right,
they
right,
didn't
right. Yeah,
have
yeah.
it. So yeah, I'll try to be as safe as I can, but I'm not totally against flying, but I make sure I'm safe.
Yeah. So a while back, you mentioned you're a sports fan. I know you're in Arizona. So what sports do you watch besides? I know, of course, you watch cricket, but besides cricket, like what do you watch?
Um, it's a bit interesting. I watch cricket. Obviously, I follow the test matches and T20s that are taking place. The T20 that's taking place right now.
Mhm.
I don't watch that many other sports just because I don't really find the time to watch
Right.
other sports. But whenever I'm given the chance, I love to watch soccer or football, as I like to call it, because I don't know
Okay.
much about soccer. Basketball is good. I like to play basketball a lot with my friends. I feel like that's just like a hobby of mine.
Right.
As far as the Olympics, I think I was talking about the Olympics. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of track and field, like sprinting.
Mhm.
Anything that's 400 meters or below, I'm a big fan of.
Okay.
Things like that, really.
Cool. I just I just like to ask people what sports they like. Being a sports journalist is kind of fun to see what
Yeah,
people like to talk about. So I want to leave you with one last question. What advice would you give young cricketers who are looking to be on the US Under-19 team or look to be on a minor league team? What advice would you give them to do now to make it to where you are?
of course. That's a very good question. I would love to answer that because as someone who was in that position a few years ago, not too long ago, I say a few years, but you have to know, you have to be very honest to yourself. Like the thing is, you can't lie to yourself
Hmm.
because if you lie to yourself, you're going to do more harm. And what I mean by that is what you have to tell yourself is that how badly do you really want it? Is that something you really want to pursue? And it's not saying, oh, I don't think you should pursue it, or yes, I think you should. Everyone's built different. You know, everyone has different intentions and everything with their life. But I feel like if someone is actually serious of playing cricket professionally, I feel like they should commit to it. Obviously, I would still recommend staying in school and everything. It's very important to get your education done. But I'm living proof. I exceed in most of my classes. I get mostly A's. I'm not a straight A student. I get 1 or 2 B's per semester. It breaks
What
my
are you
heart.
majoring in, by the way?
Electrical engineering.
Big man with a big degree. All right, I go back to your answer.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite demanding to be honest, but you have to know how badly you want it, and you have to be once you realize you want it badly, like I really want to be part of the under-19 team or the men's team, or I later on in my career I want to be part of CPL and go on like what Ali Khan did. He's a big inspiration of mine as
Mhm.
far as USA cricket goes. Um, Once that happens, you have to be very organized in your plan of attack. Like I'm here right now. This is where I want to be in 2 years. What do I have to do in this time? And you have to train really hard. It depends if you're bowler or batsman. Everyone has different training regimes. So I would say do your research. See what is more efficient for your style of training if you're a bowler, batsman, or whatever. Don't want to get too much into that, but the general idea is if you really want something, you have to work for it because just dreaming about it is not going to do anything.
Right.
Like you should feel bad. Like I feel bad on rest days. Like I rest like on Friday, but I do a
Mhm.
little bit of light jogging, so it's not completely rest. But people would think my training days are hard. No, my rest day is the hardest day out of the whole week because I'm like I'm doing nothing. Like someone out there can be competing for my spot and is training really hard. Meanwhile, I'm just here in the couch. So
Right.
that kind of like it itches at me. It kind of bugs me. So you have to have that sort of mindset. I feel like if you have the work ethic, see if you have a good work ethic, that will top anything. That will top it. That will cloud over what situation you're in, where you're from, genetics, how tall you are, or how strong you are. Because if you have a good work ethic, you will do running, you will do some sort of gym training, obviously very specific and safe form of
Right.
gym. Obviously, not lifting as much as you can and ruining your back, but you get the idea that you have to have immense and really good work ethic because that's only gonna make you up into a professional cricketer. And I feel like work ethic is a very important thing because if someone's naturally talented but doesn't put in the work, and I've seen this firsthand, someone who's naturally talented It was like just an example in Arizona League where someone was naturally talented and I wasn't. I don't feel like I was born as a talented cricketer. Everything I am is because of my work ethic. But 2 years down the road, I'm doing much better because I have a better work ethic. So that really shows how far talent can get you, which can get you quite far, but how further work ethic can get you. So I think it's a very, very important thing to assess. And you have to, and before doing all of that research and everything, I know I'm very critical of everything. I know I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry, but
No, man. No, all the time you talk, I love it. So you keep
Oh,
going.
thank you. I appreciate it. Some people get overwhelmed when I talk about cricket. Like, okay, yo, chill.
No, man.
But
You do you.
thanks. So before diving in and like how hard I'm going to train and everything, you have to ask yourself that question that I said earlier. How committed are you? Like, how are you? Do you actually want to play professional cricket, or do you like a little taste of it, or do you just want to be like, oh, I play for USA, that's it, and never play another game, you know? Or do you want to be an actual cricketer? So I feel like that's a very important question to ask yourself. And once, if it's clear for you, like it's a clear yes or a clear no, then you'll know for sure what to do. And from there, the path is very clear.
Guys, this guy's just 18 years old. All right, he is so wide. 18 years old. I want to bring that out there. Okay, a year ago he was 17 and he took 7 wickets for 10 runs in 8 overs, the best bowling figures in U.S. cricket history. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. I wish you nothing but the best in the minor league, in your future cricketing career. You don't even need the luck because you work so hard. Kids, learn from him. Thank you so much. Future star for the San Diego Surf Riders and future U.S. cricket star, Mr. Raj Vyas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.